ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Galore. I'm your host, David Strege, once again. And before I go on about this review, this is no longer going to be on Inside Movies Galore channel. It will be on the Delusions of Galore review channel, because Inside Movies Galore is a podcast and Delusions of Grandeur is my review site now. So that being said, enjoy the review. Hopefully you enjoy it as great as I did describing it for you. And thank you so much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. It's been a while since I've done a standalone review on a film called Frogs, which I know it's kind of backwards, but it's directed by George McGowan. And I know just recently I went on with the group about it, but I wanted to get a stand-alone review from my thoughts. And this was a film directed in 1972 by, like I said, George McGowan. And he was known for a lot of productions with TV. Some sequels that didn't exactly garner any favor review-wise, like he did the Over the Hill Gang sequel. He directed the Magnificent Seven rides again in 1972 and various TV productions. But we have a family, a patriarch by the name of the Crockett's, and the head of this patriarch is played by Ray Milland. And if you know anything about him, he has some starring roles in such films as The Uninvited, where he played a ghost hunter, which I have from the Criterion Collection, and also Fritz Lang's Ministry of Fear, and so on and so forth. But he's an actor that's from England that has been very well known. He's been around since the 30s, and he had a contract with Paramount for many years up until like 1943 or so, and so on and so forth. But the reason why I remember Frogs is because it stars like Sam Elliott when he was like fairly young, and you almost don't recognize him except maybe in his voice somewhat, because eventually he became well known for some very cool westerns down the road, as well as being the Ghost Rider that was giving Nicolas Cage the role in a Marvel, I believe it was Marvel Comics Ghost Rider series. So it was definitely interesting to see him so young. But in any case, Sam Elliott, he plays this photographer, and there are some really cool shots that I think that were of nature and whatnot that he was trying to take in a canoe. At least his character, which he plays a character called Pickett Smith, where his canoe gets rammed in by young Clint Rocket, which most of the young people that played as actors in here, they had those those Brady Bunch looking kind of haircuts, and well, him and his sister, Clint, and I believe Joan Von Ark and Adam Rourke are the two characters that played the brother and sister that had rammed into his canoe, basically upsetting his journey. So ultimately, they bring him to an island, which apparently where this Crockett family lives. Now, apparently they've done something to the ecosystem for many, many years, and they own a factory of sorts. In fact, they were talking about some paper mills or whatnot while we were learning some of the backstory. And there was definitely a butler and his family on the island, so they're all here to celebrate the birthday celebrations of this patriarch by the name of Jason Crockett, and evidently 4 of them have birthdays around the same time, and so they were trying to celebrate that, that big thing. And he's relatively older. He's like in his 70s or 80s. Could be later, but he comes off as this like rich man. So, but there's definitely elements of frogs that you see, and they definitely portray the frogs to be many in here. So as the film progresses, you see a bunch of them hopping up against the windows and whatnot. A lot of people think that this film is a bad film because none of the deaths could actually happen. But I will remember the part, the one part where the one son, he goes off. Actually, I will remember three or four deaths in here, which are actually kind of cool. The one where the one son goes off and he goes in, he ends up under this tree that has this moss hanging down, and the moss holds these tarantulas, and they just kind of cover him and wrap him around and suffocate him to death. And ultimately he dies. Well, there's another character, I think he's an offshoot son of the Crockett family. Well, he ultimately gets he goes into the greenhouse, and there are all these geckos in there, and these giant lizard-like looking things that walk in there, and he's looking for a specific plant, and he basically gets poisoned because these geckos knock these jars of poison over, and the fumes just kind of suck into his body, and it's like, oh my god. But then of course there's there's the sister of Jason, I believe, and her name is Iris, who is played by Hollis Irving, and she goes off in search of this butterfly, which ultimately leads her into the swamp, and she ends up getting chased down and falls into this leech infested swamp, and then right afterwards it gets bitten by a snake. And the funny thing is that her body goes into some kind of rigor mortis type reaction right away, and it seems like she's dead sooner than you think. And then shortly off the way, the young man's father, who was looking for the young man who went into the greenhouse, well, he ultimately gets ripped apart by an alligator, and he was just nearby where Iris was. So there were definite. I mean, come on. There's a part where Clint's wife, Clint is obviously trying to have a relationship with the African American young woman who actually, like, she's more talkative than I would assume that a person of color would actually have at this point in time in the 70s. So it's not that I'm trying to be racial or anything like that, but it was just kind of surprising how shall I say, how outgoing the character for Bella Garrington, who was evidently there on the island to visit the butler and his family. So in any case, I ultimately love this film. There's definitely a lot of, nature against humanity. I mean, nature just got fed up and just started fighting back. And but as we realized, some of that got caught up. There was a message underlying there that nature just got kind of fed up. But I think they kind of misconstrued the message along the way. But it was definitely a lot of fun and entertaining. And I think that this is a film that everyone should see if they have not, because it's just so out there and weird. And even though the deaths could never happen entirely, there was definitely a lot of traits that I liked about it. So I mean, yeah, it was somewhat slow, but it was a fun film, and you should take it as such and enjoy the ride. In any case, that's my review of this film. If you don't like it, that's too bad. I'm going to tell you about it anyways. In any case, hopefully you have a good afternoon. Like, share, and subscribe, and look forward to this next week, where we talk about Silence of the Lambs, and we look back on some of the films that we have enjoyed or liked that we've talked about on the show. So in any case, definitely check this review out if you like. And I will look forward to giving more reviews out there. So I enjoy talking about films 24/7. So my name is David Streggy. I run Movies Galore Milwaukee, as well as Inside Movies Galore, and I am a small time producer, and I just love talking about films. So definitely check the rest of our reviews out, and hopefully you've enjoyed me talking about this film. In any case, enjoy the rest of your evening, day, or whatever you're enjoying, and hopefully I will be back on to talk about more films. So thank you for your time.
Nice job, Kermit.
Thank you.
Nice job, Kermit.
Thank you.
Nice job, Kermit.
Thank you.